Welcome back to Super Tuesday Recap. It's Chris and Dpalm here, your hosts, to talk about the penultimate episode of The Flash. Season 3, Episode 22, Infantino Street. Barry chooses to use any means necessary to save the woman he loves. The Flash turns to Captain Cold for help. This is that last episode before the season finale. And I'm going to jump. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I just have to let everybody know how excited I am to talk about this. They killed the fuck out of Iris, yo.
Okay, that's fine.
Look, it's not going to... I don't believe they're going to stick. I don't believe they have that kind of spine. I believe they're... And we'll talk about theories and things like that. There's a lot of stuff going around about what really happened. We'll talk about that at the end. I'm just happy they had they had the spine to do it in this episode. At least make everybody think they did it. Good for you. Whatever else we talk about,
good kill.
Good. Hey, you know what? Everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, of course you like this, and of course you're an evil villain." No, here's my thing. The reason why I like this is just strictly because once you get to the part where a character is not a main character. Is so important that you can't kill them because the audience might get too upset. Like that I hate that. So, right. And here's the thing. Again, I don't think it sticks. I don't think they're that far into the Chris villainy right now. Now, if they did that, everything that's wrong with this season is forgiven. If they do that, if they pull that off, then if she doesn't come back at the end of this next episode or at any point next episode. Or they don't reveal something happened with her, and she stays dead at the end of this season. Oh, I forgive everything that happened this season. It's just because it goes. Because
it's a ballsy move.
It's a ballsy move. I'm sorry. Like there are so many people. Their whole thing is, oh well, you can't kill Iris. We like Iris. You can't kill her. I'm like, that's why she has to die.
That sounds like a really good reason to kill her.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, just like that. That becomes a safe thing, and so it. People always talk about not having stakes in movies and TV shows, and there's that whole thing about there's no stakes and there were no stakes in Civil War because we knew they weren't going to kill Captain America or Iron Man.
There are stakes beyond death.
Right, there are.
But this was a really good job. I loved it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I know we're talking about the whole episode. I like you was like I can't believe they did it.
And that's the thing. It's like. I've been spending the entire time going, they're not gonna do it. They called their shot. They showed us that she died, and then they told us, well, you can't change the future. And we're like, sure, okay, you'll find some way around that. And then they literally get stabbed. And again, maybe that's not the entire picture. Maybe there's some other things around there that we can go into later. But from what we saw and what we know, and they hit you, and then the way they did it. That entire with playing the song in the background, having the emotion of Barry, having her voiceover or the message she left Barry at the beginning of the episode,
really well done.
Like all of that is really well done with her basically saying her vows and saying I do to Barry on this message as Barry's rushing to save her. Like that entire thing is done well. And yes, if you are out there and you really love that character, Iris, that's an emotional gut punch. And that's good.
But it only counts because they made you love her. Like,
right.
It tells you just how well done this team has really used. And let's put it this way. The character of Iris is a weird character.
Mm-hmm.
The first season, they had to keep her in the dark for most of the year.
Right.
Then she wears the clothes she wears and is basically an unpaid blogger.
Right.
And then everyone else gets fucking superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's literally the dangly damsel for half the season. They did a really good job, in my opinion. And I know there's people vary takes on, she had a bigger spotlight or more agency. I thought that she, in the episodes leading up to this, while everyone else was frantic and whatnot, she was such a port of calm.
Right.
She kind of accepted. I thought that was really nuanced acting by Candace. It was just. You felt like someone who was just like, you know what, this was going to happen. Like, even sending Barry to go get that food so she can record that message.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's someone who had kind of piece with it. And while I think that she had the most mature reaction to the news. because people were like, why wasn't she doing a bucket list? Why wasn't she doing this, that, and the other? Because it was time, and it was important for her to spend it with Barry and her family.
Right. I mean, and yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just think that it was. Bravo to the writers and bravo to Candace, because they really made her character still matter, even with this inevitable meeting on Infantino Street.
Right. And here's the thing. With all the problems we've had with the writing and the pacing of the season and everything going on like that, like, I think this is the way they wrote this and the way they wrote her character and the way they did this. Again, I have no belief that this is going to be the end of, Iris West. Like, I do not believe that they'll end with her dying at the hands of Barry. I just, if they do that, hey, they are, they're bolder than I thought they would.
Us.
They would surprise me. But even going this far and doing what they did here, I think it did really well. Like you said, doing the message to Barry on the phone and sending him off to get caviar and all thing. Honestly, I thought she was going to write in the message that she was pregnant, because I was like, just caviar, right? Or you want pickles and peanut butter next? What the fuck's going on? But that the other really great scene was, and this is one of the things that they don't do enough. We get a lot of these Barry and Joe scenes, but the Iris and Joe scenes are always really well done. And the one in this episode was really just some really great black fatherhood, black daughter moments in this show. Iris confessing to switching rooms to sneak out at night, and then Joe confessing to taking some of their college fund money to go on a blues cruise. Like, it was just like that. Like you said, at the end, it comes down to her accepting her fate when she tells future Savitar, I'll go with you, just leave them alive. And she's accepted her fate. Her giving the ring to her father, which goes back to show you why she didn't have the ring on when Barry thought that he would put a ring on her finger to show that she was married, and that's why that'll change. No, that didn't change anything, Barry, because she wasn't going to have the ring on anyway. It's how it's always supposed to happen. So the way they did it, and here's the thing, they made. Let's say, just going from this and assuming that she's dead, they made her death matter, right?
A lot.
We even see the fact that Savitar existing, honestly, is really come down to, Barry losing Iris. Going back to Flashpoint, even in that, Barry still wanted to. Even he had his mom, he had his dad back, he had a family he wanted. He didn't have Iris, so he had to go out and meet Iris. And it's always about her. So they really made her a really big anchoring point here for Barry, and her death now so gives Barry basically an opportunity to figure out which path he's going to go down, which then also again does really well with the other part of this episode, the major part of this episode, which is basically the little heist with him and Snart, which I thought that, listen, let's just say it right now. They got to figure out a way to get Wentworth Miller back in here, like, full time.
Yes.
We got him on Legend of Tomorrow, yeah. But I didn't realize how much I missed him on The Flash until we got, Snart and Barry interacting with each other again. And it was great, but it was really the end when Barry takes him back to where he's supposed to be at, and they're having a conversation, and Snart says to him, I always knew you had it in you to be as ruthless as they come. Your history made sure of that. Basically we had the same history. Maybe that's why we get along. You see the good in me and I see the bad in you. And I was like, yeah, you got to have Snart back. I'm sorry. Like, this is that is a great representation of the relationship on this show, and it does so well, and they play off each other really well. And then he tells Barry, stop trying to beat Savitar at his own game. Your goodness is your strength.
It was a Team Flash speech.
Yeah. I figure it out, guys. Figure out a way. I mean, he died at Vanishing Point. It's easy to bring him back. figure some shit out. But
So when did he pull him from? Because I think they pulled because you never find out where Snart dropped off Rory that one time
yeah, you don't.
when they tried to murder him.
They don't say when, but you're right. I don't know what it
They
was.
never tell you. You just see him walking back the Wave Rider, and I guess in this episode they say Nova Scotia 18 whatever.
No, it was
Like,
Siberia. It was Siberia, 1892.
Is that where he drops Mick?
It could be. Could be. So I'm not sure. Well, I it almost makes me want to go back and watch, barrel through that. Well, at least watch the episodes for season 1 of Legend of Tomorrow. So
It kind of does because that's the only time I can think he was with the Wave Rider by himself.
yeah. But then even with when he dropped Mick off, did he drop him off with the? Because remember they have the little side ship. So he might have taken that. I don't think he took the entire Wave Rider.
For some reason, I thought he did.
Maybe he did. I don't know. I have to go back and watch it.
They stayed in whatever time period because remember they
Right.
It was the episode where they fight the space pirates.
Yeah. In our defense, people, that first season of Legend of Tomorrow is easy to forget.
I'm not apologizing for anything. Look, we watched it. We watch a lot of shows. I don't remember everything. I'm pretty good. I'm not that good.
Right. But yeah. So I'll go back and check that out and see because I think that was an interesting thing. I also think that matters. So but no, like having Barry teamed up with Snart, I think that was good for him. And even that little pep talk there should hope. And what I'm hoping is that, regardless of what happens or Iris's fate here, the what between the conversation with Snart, conversation with his future self, and everything that he's been doing here, what the hope is the way Barry can change the future is maybe not saving Iris, but basically save himself and save everybody by not doing. And here's the thing: if we'll see. Like I said, if he doesn't create time remnants to try to stop Savitar, none of this happens.
Oh, I know how it ends.
So
I know how this ends. I'll tell you at the end. But,
okay.
Yeah.
But all right. So let me see. So here's one thing, and I have an article I'll get into in a minute that is something we've talked about. It doesn't bother us. But it's something we've been wondering about, like casual fans who aren't really into, and this has become a big thing with me. Like, I think it's perfectly fine, and I need people to understand this. It's perfectly fine if you like comic book characters, but you don't. But that's it. You just like them in some kind of media you watch. You don't like reading them. You don't like knowing the intricate histories of them. I think that's fine, and I think that's going to be a challenge for TV shows and movies going forward is how you bridge the gap between hardcore fans and these characters that are very complex. Like as much as everybody likes the Flash, but Flash is very complex. And so the first thing I was seeing when watching on the timeline was people automatically and they even kind of addressed it in the show, being like, "Oh my God, Barry went through and traveled through time again." Even Iris says to him when he comes back, he's like, he said you weren't going to do that again. And the immediate reaction is, well, that's stupid. Why did Barry do that? That's how we got in trouble the first time. You're absolutely right. But here's the thing. He's picking up a legend. They kind of already established that they can, they're already traveling through time anyway. Snart shouldn't be in 1892. So, and remember, the legends were already picked because of their minimal impact on the timeline going forward. Like you're basically nobodies, which isn't true.
They're
but
definitely nobodies,
right? So, but that's the thing. And here's the other thing too. Snart's dead in the current time. So Barry going back and picking up, getting the legends is no different than him sending the message to them or bringing them coming to that time to help with the invasion stuff. Like they're time masters, if you wouldn't be honest about it. So, yeah, he traveled through time, but it gets kind of iffy. That said, I understand why I fully believe going to next season, if they time travel, it's got to be very sparingly. They did. I just.
It's something they definitely a well they've gone to a little often.
Yeah, I just you can't like when they first did that in season 1. I was like, as Flash fans, we're all like, holy shit, they're doing time travel. They're gonna do that. I mean, it's a huge part of what it means to be a Flash. That's just what they do. They're always fucking up the timeline. They're always going through the timeline. That's just what it is. But on a mainstream show, you can't keep going to that well. Even though the comics do it, trust me, the comics do it, and it's not it's when you go, yeah, that's stupid. Yeah, it's just what it is. Like time travel is just a thing. But I think they have to cut it back going next season. Like here's some. This is from Forbes, and it's basically they say these ridiculous plot holes are ruining Flash's best moments this year. Here's one: Savitar is a time remnant of Barry created by Barry in the future to ultimately trap Savitar in the Speed Force. Savitar tells Barry this, so it would be pretty simple for Barry in the future to simply not create time remnants of himself. No more Savitar. Iris saved. Which could still,
and that's the thing that people are trying to find, like the loophole or the trick. There's a very and when I say it on the podcast, your eyes are you're like, oh, of course, that makes perfect sense. There's a simple way they're going to fix it. It's not like I just want to make time remnants. What the point of it is, Savitar pushes him to that place where he has to make time remnants just to keep up, just to not die.
Right. And
this is the timeline. The timeline that we've seen so far is the exact timeline that generated Savitar.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Wally wasn't there.
Yeah. That's why we
everything's explained.
Remember, the first time he saw it, he thought it was HR, wasn't there on the roof. It's not HR, it's Harry.
Yep.
Another one is the entire premise of the show is that Barry can't change the future to save Iris, but he's been unable to avoid changing the future every time he goes back into the past. The entire Flashpoint thing was him changing the future and present by going back and changing the past. Wouldn't it stand to reason that he could find numerous ways to change the future then, simply by changing the past? See, and this comes back to, I'm not going to read the rest of this thing right here, this little point they're making here, but this goes back to where I think that the show has lost people, because they explain this. Jay explained this, because Barry actually has that conversation. He's like, well, I'll just go back and change it again. And Jay explained to him when he broke the cup and said, trying to put the cup back together, there are still fractures there.
Mm-hmm. The other thing, like the people are like, why don't you keep trying again? What you've got to understand is that the future they're showing us is immutable.
Mm-hmm.
It had to happen.
Yeah.
That was the point. Like us even saying, oh, why don't they do this and that? That's what this entire back half of the season's been. Mm-hmm. Has been him trying to, even the speech about Plunder, all they did was add the word Kid Flash.
Right.
Because I was listening for it. I was like, I want to hear everything. I want to make sure. I want to see how it matches up. The little wrinkles they changed, congratulations. Kid Flash stopped Plunder.
And so what I need a lot of people to do, and I think this might help before you watch next week's episode, go back, and I think it was episode 1. Because he tries to run back to change everything. Go back and
stops his ass.
Yeah, go back and listen to what Jay says. Actually, I'm sorry, no, this is wrong. Listen to that, the episode 1, but then also go back and find the episode where Jay tells him when he sees the future.
Yep.
And then Jay tells him that's going to happen. No matter what he does in the past, that's your future, because you got to think about it. He goes back and he tries to change the past. That the future he saw could be the result of him going back and change. Like everything he did it's already happened. It's all in there. That's how the future Barry knows everything. Like when the future Barry goes, oh, he's going back to get Snart to get the power source he needs for the Speed Force trap. Okay. He's like, it doesn't matter, because that future Barry knows that no matter what he's doing in the past, it's going to, the future's the same. It's already been done, So, the one thing they have on here, Caitlin Snow becoming Killer Frost. Hey, we've already established that. Yeah, her power's operating that way, and yeah, they haven't explained that really. We'll give you that one. I don't think that's been a plot hole that has ruined the show.
Subplot that's what's going to come up when they try to fix her.
Yeah.
Next season. Spoilers. They're going to try to fix her next season.
Once they figured out Barry and Savitar had the same memories, why they didn't involve Barry on any of the planning? Well, I mean, it's only been 2 episodes. If they had compartmentalized information, they could have kept Iris's location a secret. For instance, why did HR and the other team members on Earth 1 know where Joe was taking Iris in Earth 2? That's a valid point here.
Well, they didn't tell Barry, and then when he got there, it was a moment of elation of we got it. They thought that they won.
Yeah, I mean, like
that's why Harry told him, or HR told him.
That to me doesn't count as a moment because again, that to me is like they did compartmentalize it. But I mean, I can understand compartmentalizing even further if you're going to take 2 of them. You're going to take Joe and Iris and Wally off, Earth 1 and put them on Earth 2. Then okay, cool, that's fine. But HR, why wouldn't HR and them know? I don't know.
Exactly. If you're compartmentalization, that would just mean Barry didn't. Yeah,
and the funny thing about this, when they wrote this, they started off saying, "Why would you involve Barry in anything?" And then they changed it to talking about, "Well, why did HR know? HR's not Barry." that's
can't move those goalposts.
Yeah, you can't move that. Can't move that. Why not reach out to Care or Oliver Queen? I don't know if you've been watching the seasons, but they've been kind of fucking busy.
Yeah, they've got other shit going on.
Like, I'm not watching Supergirl, but I've seen the promos. I think Supergirl's kind of busy right now.
She's in the middle of some shit.
And Oliver, he's definitely fucking busy right now. And what the fuck is Oliver going to do to get this god of speed? Shoot him with
an arrow. It took me 8 hours to get here from Star, but that train, my next train's in the morning, so I can shoot this guy for a second. I gotta make sure I make the next train. Like, what?
Yeah, why aren't time races everywhere? I mean, you have to be careful. Like, they're not breaking time. And Savitar is a little bit different in that he's from the Speed Force. He's trapped in the Speed Force. So that's kind of why. I mean, even with what Barry did with Snart this episode, that's again. Remember what in season 1, the reason why Time Wraith didn't show up, right away with Wells Thawne is he was smart. You have to make certain changes here and there. You have to be smart about it. The reason why Zoom showed up and the Time Wraith showed up for Zoom is Zoom was just killing. Zoom was creating time remnants. He was killing them. He was doing all kinds of crazy shit. That's not what Barry did here. That's not what him pulling Snart
after will do.
Yeah. So maybe in the future, but this is not how it works there. Iris cut off her engagement from Barry. We already talked about how crazy that was. The Speed Force bazooka was stymied by the Philosopher's Stone, which so happens is calcifies Speed Force because if there's something that needs to be explained, this show just throws Speed Force at it to make it go away. Welcome to comic books. I'm sorry. Like I read that one, and that's when Heyman was like, okay, you guys like you like the idea and the concept of the show and the Flash, but this is a comic booky thing. And look,
this is the guy who's watching Star Trek and says, well, "Why is it making noise in space?"
Yeah,
like that's what that guy is.
And look, I'm not saying that you can't ask questions about that, but you got to understand at some point, like one of the reasons why I love the Flash and this stuff is they're super super comic booky. That's just a comic booky thing. So along with the second one that I think was something that somebody emailed us before, it was Barry never uses his powers in fights, which is bullshit. He's constantly showing up and talking to the bad guys and getting beat up because of it, even though he's the fastest man alive. He's also jumping in front of people to stop attacks from metas like Killer Frost, whose frost attack would be slow as molasses compared to Barry. He could just move people, take out Frost, or bat the ice out of the air. He's awfully slow for the Flash. Well, it wouldn't be a fucking TV show then.
People over here watching like, if I had those powers, this is what I would do. Motherfucker, it's a television show.
I mean, this is
designed to entertain.
Like this is, I'm sorry, but this is also like asking why in the horror film, like the person being chased falls down, because if you didn't, then the slow walking fucking creature or Jason wouldn't be able to catch up with them, and it wouldn't be a horror film anymore. It would just
why don't they just move out of the house?
Right, right.
Fuck.
It's like, I mean, come on, guys. Like
some of these things are the conventions of the genre you're partaking in.
Yeah, I mean that's just what it is. I mean. And here's the thing, yeah, he jumped in front of the ice to save, like, here's the thing, he's the fastest man alive, but the way they talk about it in the comic books is basically like, he's the fastest man alive, but also he's not reckless. So you also have to, he's also trying to avoid running into people. If he goes so fast, he's gonna run into people.
There's an issue at JLA where it's after Wally comes back after Final Crisis, and he is working with Wonder Woman to stop Queen Bee. It's a very comic booky sentence for me to say. And at one point, they're doing the internal, like the Wally West. My name's Wally West, and the fastest man alive monologue. And he's talking about going to a fire. He's about to go put out a fire. He says, I keep it under 500 miles inside the city limits so I don't have to destroy the streets. Mm-hmm. And then later in the issue, he's like, okay, so that was at the speed of sound, but it was an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't, one, especially in the show, they've shown it takes time for Barry doesn't go from 0 to full speed. No one does.
Yeah. And
two, it's a comic book. Like, what kind of question is that?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, in the comic books, they kind of explain it. And I remember they've done it a couple times where it's like you said, he keeps the speed down because if he doesn't, then it destroys the street, or, he, like, there was one scene where I think it was, the villain was, like, throwing something back at him. He was like, I could phase through them, but then that, because Wally at the time, when he phases through things, they would blow up. So it's like, I could phase through them, but that would cause them to blow up, and that would cause collateral damage, so I can't do that. So I have to take it, quote-unquote, slower and dodge them or stop. So it's like, it's things like that.
There was an Impulse comic once where he was literally just parallel. Someone was shooting at a school, and Impulse was like, wait, okay, so here's what I can do. I send them up, they come back down with equal force. Mm-hmm. I send them down, destroys the ground below us. I phase through, hits the kids anyway. If I grab them all, I know if I'm fast enough. Like, you watch him trying to make these split-second decisions, and it kind of, they've addressed what they're talking about in the comic books more than the show, because you get thought balloons.
And that's one of the things that I think I've mentioned before, and I think that if they can work this in there some way next year, I think it'll really help with that for people. They need to find a way to get the equivalent of thought bubbles in there. And whether that's having, when he's going to do something, having him do a voiceover in his head so you hear what he's thinking and you can see that. I think, and all you need is like one episode of that to explain that.
I think when we talk about how I think the season ends, I think you could do it in the first episode of next season, just because he's evolved to being like a master of speed. He beat the guy. Spoilers, he's probably going to fucking win.
You think?
It's a show called The Flash, not Savitar. But I think that what happens at the end of the season will point towards his evolution to being the Flash.
Right.
And it'll be kind of the end. I think that the season's the end of his evolution. I think it's a 3-year evolution. Mm-hmm. And when we get to theories, we'll explain that. But let's talk about what I think is the most charming damn part of the episode, Barry Allen breaking into anything ever.
First of all, I like the idea that they, and this might come back later on, the transmogrifier or whatever the fuck they're using with. I'm
gonna keep calling it an image inducer because I'm a Marvel kid.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And I love the fact that this time they showed it worked more on their faces. It can actually change the entire body. And apparently, Barry's been working out with Oliver because he can fight now a little bit.
Yo, I was like, okay, so who is this under Lila's face? I was like, clearly it's not Barry. Barry can't fight.
Yo, you know what would have been dope? Is if they had switched it so that it was actually Snart as Lila and Barry handcuffs.
I could have done that. Sure, you could have, Barry. Damn it! Now I wish I'd done that.
Yo, I'm sorry. That would have been awesome. and then had Barry be like, "Yo, can you take the cuffs off me now?"
Yeah, right? Would you please unlock? Get out on yourself, Flash. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Unlock me, please.
And look, you know what? The one thing I will say, and again, it's just me being greedy. I actually wish it was more of a heist because when Cisco was going through what was in just the first floor, I was like, oh man, it'd be really kind of cool to try to see if.
I can't wait to see all this.
And then we just got to the door. I was like, oh damn it. But still, it's like, again, you pair up Barry and Snart, and I'm all in for it. Before that, though, I did kind of like the idea of when he went to Lila. Lila was right. It's like, Barry, I don't know if I can trust you with this. This is the kind of tech that wars are fought over, and I don't know if I can trust you to have it. That's legit. And not just because of what happened with, changing, baby Sarah to baby John. But this is basically because, like, dude, you've gone back in time, Flashpoint, everything you've done, like, I don't know if we can trust you on that. You know, I thought that was
founded, and so was her revelation at the end.
absolutely. Well, so the revelation at the end, the only thing that would have made it a little bit better for me if they had some kind of callback to the conversation she had with John, because that's also it kind of tied into what's been going on with her and John on Arrow, with John kind of calling her out on being too much like Waller, but also her understanding that, hey, I have a lot of shit that I'm responsible for, and you do too, and me being this, you have to trust me to make the right call and make the right decisions, because I'm dealing with a lot here. And so even though they didn't show you that in this episode, if you're watching Arrow and you've seen those conversations the last couple episodes with her and Diggle, like what she says to Bear at the end, I like that. Like, that was good. It was a good, it made sense, and I thought that, it was good to see her say, hey, you know what? You could have left Snart there and taken what you needed and gone. And that would have proved to her that, yeah, I can't trust Barry with this shit.
Right.
But he stayed on the light. I think that's another thing that's good, is you're seeing Barry make the right decision here. Even when Savitar wouldn't have done that. Even into something that I thought was stupid, him sending Cisco, and we'll come back to I'm just gonna mention this real quick, but him sending Cisco off to go confront Killer Frost. I'm like, hey, no, Barry, we can because you might need open portals. Like, that might be a good thing. But he's like, yo, we have a chance to save the people we love and the people we care about. You go try to save Caitlin. I'm gonna go and try to save Iris, and we'll do it that way. Again, that's Barry trying to be light. It seems stupid in our mind, because we're like, as audience, we only really care about Iris. Nobody really wants Caitlin back. But from a Barry point of view, that was a very heroic Barry Allen type of deal,
Right.
Because he knows how much Caitlin means to Cisco.
It's a chance to save his friend.
Yeah, and so you got to do that. Hey, you know what? We always been talking about the lack of Wonder Woman promos. I love the fact that they're showing Wonder Woman promos now during CW shows. Thanks, guys. I'm a little late for that, but
I don't.
You don't?
I don't love it. So let's just take a quick detour to talk about this really quickly. It's the same reason I don't like that they advertise the WWE Network during Raw. The people watching this are already got that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Like I would love to, like, from a strictly wrestling perspective, run the network ad just using Stone Cold and The Rock and The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Run that ad during halftime of Monday Night Football. See what happens, because everyone at some point watched. Right. Same thing with this. Everyone at some point knows who Wonder Woman is. Don't run CW. Hey, you've got this money. Count these households as sold tickets. Go get the next ones. Am I wrong?
No, I get you. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The reason why I say that I'm happy to see them, because they weren't even doing that before.
Yeah, you haven't seen anything. I agree.
Right. So they weren't even doing that. So I'm just like on some good. And you know what?
Your bar is like, just do something, and mine is like, do something like that's going to work.
Yeah, I just wanted to do. Because there are people that are watching The Flash who didn't know when Wonder Woman came out. So I'm like, yo, can you guys keep saying you're gonna get these people, but you kind of really haven't been trying to? So
I'm really excited for your screener.
Huh?
I'm really excited for your screener.
Hey, listen, man. I think it's gonna be good.
I do not.
I think it's gonna be good. And here's the thing. Fair warning. I say this every time I go to see a DC movie.
Yeah, but this was us here last year.
Hey, listen, for me. Hey, look. DC movies. I'm with DC movies the same way people are who go to see Transformer movies every time and go, maybe this is the one. Yeah, that's me. Only difference is I don't pay for them. So if it's not good, I won't be paying for it. So there's that.
Hey, they put that Transformers trailer in front of Guardians.
The new one? The new international
I avoided it.
Oh, listen.
Until Guardians. What the fuck?
So I don't know. Is it new I don't know if that's the new international one that had.
I've seen enough. I know. I'm not going to parse out which one it was because it hurt me.
So here's the thing: the international one that I put on the site today, it actually had like action in it. Where the one that I saw before that it was just like it was like, what the fuck are they like? There was no action in it, and it just felt like, what the fuck. This one has a lot of action in it, but it's just like,
you say action, and you mean like shaky cam footage of toasters running each other because you can't see anything. Let's talk about Flash.
Okay, yeah. But
the heist, man.
So I was going.
I wanted to see more of the breaking in too.
Yeah, I did. I kind of wanted to see more of the breaking in. The reason why I went to the Wonder Woman thing is because I was like, hey, they put Cheetah.
Yeah, nigga, look, Cheetah. I was like, we're getting this back, right?
Dude,
Cheetah. I was like, yeah, this has to happen.
Nigga, listen, I put immediately, we're not seeing Cheetah on the CW. Like, if we do, amazing. But I'm like, I felt like that was just a little throw in to people who, because of Wonder Woman coming out. I don't know. I think it was more like the Harley Quinn thing, where you got her voice at one time. I actually don't think we'll see Cheetah on CW. But the fact that they put her name there, nice.
Right. Not Barbara Minerva either. Like, put Cheetah.
Yeah. Well done. I like that. And hey, and like you said, hey, Cheetah's down there, Grodd, you got you got King Shark, Cupid. Okay, let's do it. And then they were using King Shark as a fucking guard dog.
Nigga, look. I'm sorry. That was a brilliant scene. And they even by the way, you're right. Wentworth Miller should be on my television at all times. The man just chews and devours scenery. And he's got great chemistry with Grant Gustin.
Yeah. Amazing chemistry with Grant Gustin. Like, it is.
But him being like, they used the fin because they couldn't afford to just make the shark look good. I was like, that's fucking brilliant.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they're saving money for next week.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but then this whole thing about, I watched a lot of Shark Week on I watched a lot of Shark Week on the Wave Rider. And then later on, when Barry asked him, it's like, well, how long do you think King Shark's going to be down? He's like, I like Shark Week. I'm not a marine biologist. Like, it's so good, man. It's so good. I love them together. Like you said, their chemistry together is off the chart and amazing. And it just makes me stream more. Hey, no more time travel next year. Give us the Rogues. Like that would just that's your season, man. I don't know how you work it out, but you can make it happen. And like, I need that shit. I really, really need that shit. It would be so good. There, but yeah, man, I like the heist. I like the whole thing. I love the fact that when they talked about, I forget what it was called, but when they talked about how the door and the lock on the door was too big, and since they're going through all of this stuff about how much it costs, how what the systems are in place, how long it would take to crack, and all this stuff, and then Snart's like, 36 seconds, getting kind of slow.
I mean, like what? And then, okay, so we already mentioned what great chemistry Wentworth Miller has. He really sold Snart as like, this is good, like transition, like mid-season 1 of Listen Tomorrow Snart.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can see him being like, Mary, damn it, like, you want to be a badass, I guess you could kill him. Or, like, for him to take the ore out, it kind of showing us the Captain Cold that I know you and I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully whenever we get him back for next season to run the Rogues, that's the Captain Cold we get. You don't kill unless you have to. Rogues got to have rules, man. And this could have been the foundation because he does envy that goodness in Barry.
Yeah, well, I literally have in my notes, it's like, he's Snart, but he still has a code. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. This is King Shark. So if Barry was to put an icicle through King Shark's head, nobody would, nobody's going to cry because this motherfucker literally was eating people, all right? Who got locked up by Argus. But, Snart is like, do you really want to go down that road? Do you really want to be a killer? Do you really want to do that? And what I love about that is, this is Snart basically stopping Barry from being him. Because remember, Snart killed his own dad. When the last time they did a heist together, Snart froze his dad, and it shattered him. So this is Snart kind of stopping Barry. Like you didn't not saying it directly. Well, kind of later on when he puts him back in the time in the right place, but he's kind of telling him like, you don't want to be me. You don't need to be me. You are you. Like you said, he envies the good in Barry. So yeah, man, I need more. I need that back, yo. I need you. You can't do the Flash without the Rogues, and we're now 3 seasons in without fully having the Rogues, and I mean all the Rogues together. You gotta have them together. You gotta do it because it's such an important piece. They don't need the entire season doesn't need to be the Rogues. It really doesn't. But you need them to be a presence and a force.
Right.
Because they offer a different kind of criminal in Central City. You know, they're criminals, but they have a code. You know, like I was reading, I need to catch up on the Flash and the comic books now, the Rebirth stuff. But I was yeah.
You do,
huh?
Because we need to talk about it.
Yeah, I'll do it this weekend. Yeah, I'll do it this weekend. But I remember when the Rogues came back and it was a thing, and how you know what they did and how they did it. It's like it's almost like it's a game to them with what they did with the Flash, and I think we need that. You need something that sometimes isn't as heavy, where it's just a bunch of thieves trying to steal. You know,
they're just trying to get by. Just working guys trying to get by.
Right. You need the aspect, and it'll be a good foil for Barry. You know, when you have an overarching theme of a villain for the entire season, like they're just good to have there. So, and again, they always become unlikely allies to Barry Allen too. You know, like you think about it, you start next season with the Rogues terrorizing the city, and by the end of the season, Barry had to team up with the Rogues. You know, like I said, I would really like to see that. A couple other things here. Caitlin Killer Frost. One that I had in his notes was is she? What's going on with her? Because it sounded when she was talking to Savitar, that sounded more like Caitlin. Even when she was asking him, it's like
I think that there's something in there. I think that this is going to be the thread they pull to try to. So quick predictions for like a mini prediction for next episode. She gets Cisco on the ropes and decides not to kill him.
Yeah. And not to freeze his hands off.
And not to do that either. Jesus Christ.
that was my main reason for going. I'm like, yo, Barry, you sure you want to send your boy out to face Killer Frost? Because know.
I think he said it wouldn't, because I think that happened like in the street, not in the forest.
True. I'm just like, yo.
I'd have been like, yeah, maybe you should just stay off the streets near.
Maybe you should give me a hand.
Yeah, I'd be using all the hand puns.
Right. Really like, hand puns out the door. Yeah.
Balls for Cisco.
Right.
He would hate my ass.
Yeah. But yeah, I think something there too, because like I said, the whole conversation she was having with Savitar about, you don't, do you really want to kill Iris? You're still Barry. You still remember all that love, all that feelings you had for her. You still want to do that? And then I loved Savitar's response was, what I remember is being created as a disposable life. And I was like, checkmate. Got a point. Point taken. What else I had here? One more thing before you get into more of your predictions here. I really like that HR took being the one that told Savitar where Iris was so hard. And I like that conversation that Cisco had with him. But even before then, the conversation he was kind of having, the awkward conversation he was having with Tracy, where he's kind of like, basically saying, like, I don't really belong here. I don't really feel like I belong here. It doesn't really, like, this is the first time that HR has actually felt like he's been useful, and him basically being a muse for somebody and being a muse for Tracy is kind of, beyond just his attraction to her. He's been feeling useful and helpful. He's had somebody who actually doesn't go, oh, yeah, this dude again. She actually enjoys having him around. So it's the first time he's actually been feeling useful. And then he goes and does this, and he's so down on himself, and Cisco says, hey, you'll do what you always do, which is, when we need you, you'll show up. You're dependable. And in that scene, once Cisco leaves and after HR puts his hat on, he looks down at the piece of Savitar's armor. So I definitely believe HR will have something to do
That's how you're going to track him. That's how you're going to track him.
Yeah. So, because I feel like that's going to be HR's kind of redemption here with that. So, all right, predictions. You want to go into that?
You want to do the big one first?
Yeah, go ahead and do the big one first.
So the show, this. I'm telling you, this is how this episode ends. If it doesn't, I don't know what I'll do. But like, from a narrative writing perspective, okay. So the first season, you get 3 seasons of a hero's quest, basically. The first season ends with him making the decision: I can't forcibly change the past. I have to let my mother die. The second season is I screw consequences. I'm changing the past. I cannot let my mother die. The core of all that is he blames himself for the death of his mother. As a kid, he did because he couldn't help her in the room. And as an adult, because he knew that the Flash was there, that the Reverse Flash sought her out for a reason. Barry Allen has never, ever forgiven himself. Mark, and say what you will about Savitar, he felt killing Iris. You saw in the moments with Caitlin. Deep down, he's still Barry Allen.
Mm-hmm.
He still loves Iris. And if our Barry can forgive Savitar, it closes the loop. It cuts the loop. He's never created, and Iris West comes back to life.
Yeah.
It may cost them Joe to get there. # blame Chris. But I think that's where we end next week. Because that's the final test of the hero. And that's why Joe also kind of has to die. Because like I said, there's always been an authority figure at the head of the team. First season it was Wells. Second season, it was Joe. This season it's been Joe and Barry. But for Barry to truly ascend to be the capital F Flash, he's got to be the one. He's got to be the only one left. He's got to be the one truly in charge, calling all the shots. He's got to be the father figure. And that's why I think you could open the next season with him doing a voiceover throughout the whole episode to show you just how comfortable he is being the Flash now. And then, of course, at the end of the episode, you do something to turn on its ear.
Yeah. Like, I've been seeing a lot of people try to say that maybe HR used the image inducer to switch out with Iris. I'm like, but there was no time to do that. You got to remember, Iris and Iris. The only opportunity that I would say that is if it was and I still don't see this happening there, because when they're on Earth 2, Iris and Joe have a conversation. And there's just things that she's saying to Joe, and things Joe's saying to Iris that they just can't. They're not going to. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, they're not going to understand. That they wouldn't understand. Like, so, when Iris is telling Joe what she did to sneak out, and then right. Joe telling, so it's like there's enough stuff there. Now, what they could do, because Iris couldn't remember the song, they could say HR was switched out then, but that's I still don't buy that. I think it's too messy. No. What you could do is maybe say that Joe and Iris switched using an image inducer, and that was really. But again, I just feel like if things are so comic booky now, I just feel like all that stuff just doesn't. It's
a long way to go for a show that's got 1 hour left.
Right. It's just a long way to go. I don't see that. So yeah, I don't know. I definitely do think HR uses the piece of Savitar's armor to find some way of tracking Savitar. HR does something big. He finally does something, because the entire theme of the season has basically been HR's been kind of worthless and pointless. So I do think HR does something big that becomes like an actually good idea. Like you said, if what you say goes with how they deal, which I think they kind of have to, and Barry decides to basically forgive Savitar, which means he doesn't run, which means he doesn't create time remnants, which means everything just goes like it ends there. I'll be interested in seeing how everybody handles that. The general public. Like, to me, it makes sense. Because literally all you have to do, like, the idea is the reason, like in that article I was reading from Forbes, where they were like, "Oh, Barry just doesn't create time remnants." The reason why he creates time remnants is because Savitar's going to do something to cause that.
He has to. It's never. He's not like, oh, there's these people like disposable people. Right. No, he's been forced to.
It's like why he created a time remnant to stop Zoom.
Right.
He needed to. He had one. He needed to fight Zoom while the other one sacrificed himself to, stop the device that Zoom had gone. That was going to literally crash two worlds together.
And think about it this way: this is a show for all the upbeat and love and life that we praise upon it. It's never had an upbeat season finale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. And just
this is the Flash's first big win, and he's going to get his wife back to do it, and I'm happy for him.
And lose another dad.
Look, man, Dad's... I'm not going to say that. Yes, probably going to lose Joe. Before Savitar can have the breakthrough of accepting the forgiveness, he has to lash out one more time.
Right.
And they're going to use the claw to find him. That's how they're going to track him down.
Well, here's the thing. If Savitar kills Joe, then wouldn't Joe then survive too?
It's a good. I don't see. There you go. I have no idea how they're gonna do it.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think it kind of goes the same way you're saying. I just don't. I think everybody lives. I think, I think Joe lives. I think obviously Irish.
Joe's gonna have a heart attack in the last 10 seconds.
Now, again, that's a blame Dpalm right there. All right.
That was a joke.
That's a blame Dpalm.
Just like I'm taking money from the Russians was a joke a year ago.
Right.
Anyhow.
You don't believe what I say. Believe what I mean.
But you can only ascertain what you mean off of what you said.
Right, just stop. Yeah, so but that's how I go with it. That's what I'm looking at with that stuff.
You're probably right.
But yeah, I think that's how it goes. Like I said, I'm just happy that they it's temporary. Iris is coming back. They don't have it in them to kill Iris. Not to mention
they did it in the comics. They kill Iris West in the comics. Iris West Allen, in the comics. It will lead to the trial of the Flash. He ends up killing Thawne over it. But yeah, they've killed Iris. They brought her back by moving her to the future. It's a very convoluted story.
Wait, hold on. You didn't let me finish. Iris had to live so she can marry Barry, so then Thawne can kill her.
You're an asshole.
I'm like, listen, I'm very. Hey, look, I've been very consistent on this. Like, Iris has to die, and maybe not by the hands of Barry, but by Thawne. Let's keep it professional here, guys. and then they bring back an Iris from the future by moving her to the future. Yeah, and then they do the convoluted thing where somehow she's still alive. Yeah, we'll figure that out. But
she was in the future the whole time. What are you talking about, you crazy people?
Yeah.
Also, tip of the cap to the writers naming this episode Infantino Street. For those who don't know, Carmine Infantino is a legendary DC artist who helped design, create, and communicate most of Barry Allen's Silver Age adventures.
And now he'll always be.
I know that people watch like, it's the name of the street. It's the name of a very important comic book creator who pretty much defined 40 years of the Flash.
And now he'll be known for as the street that killed Iris on.
At least he'll be known. Who knew the name Carmine Infantino before this Tuesday who wasn't like me?
Valid. Very valid point. So, okay, there you guys have it. Like I said, let me double check, but I don't think we got any emails for the Flash.
No new reviews.
I think all of them were for the main event, which we know is coming soon.
It's pretty good undercard, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, no. I think they did pretty well here. Like I said, I'm not upset by what they did here. Like I said, I mean, it's always going to be hard. It's always going to be hard to when you have some pacing issues to get around everything. So, but yeah, they did pretty good. Like I said, they did the best they can, and I think again the way they did the death in this episode, I was not expecting. Again, when they said that it was 24 hours till she dies, I was like, wait, so are they going to do that next episode? I really thought they would do it next episode.
That's what I figured too.
Because it's the 23rd, and next week, and I thought they would do it that way, but they didn't. So, but that caught me off guard, and I wasn't prepared for that. So again, I kudos to them. I think they did it, and they caught me off guard here. So, not too bad. So. Anyway, guys, if you guys want to leave us a 5-star review, we'll read it on air, or you can email us your thoughts and questions on your blame Dpalms and blame Chris's. mtrailerreviews at mtrnetwork.net. Here, you can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio. Leave us a 5-star review on Stitcher Radio. On iTunes, not Stitcher. Leave a 5-star review on iTunes, and we'll read it on air. Search for Super Tuesday Recap. Again, get the individual feeds. The individual feeds are where you get the shows first. They'll be on the main feed, the MTR Network feed, staggered a little bit there. But if you want to get them all at the same time for Super Tuesday Recap, you get us, Flash, Arrow, Legend of Tomorrow, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Shannon the Doctor do Supergirl. At some point next year, we'll talk. I'll talk about this on the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. But hey, I think somebody might be doing already has agreed to try to do Black Lightning when it comes out. So those will probably all be on the Super Tuesday recap feed when we do those for the fall. And while next week is the season finale for all the DC shows, you'll be getting sporadic episodes for us, at least two a month, where we talk about comic book stuff, and there'll be plenty to talk about comic book stuff. Like I believe next Wednesday we have our Secret Empire talk with me, Dpalm, Justin, and Jeff, and that's going to be a great talk. That's going to be amazing. So, just keep following us, mtrnetwork.net, guys. Until next time, we're out of here. Peace.